It's nearing the end of January, and I've been meaning to go to Waterstones all month because I know that they've been having a big January sale. So I'm gonna head there now. I thought I'd take you along with me for a fun little vlog. This isn't an advertisement for Waterstones. It's just, I genuinely want to go pick up some bargains while they're still on sale. I am back from my excursion into London. I've just made myself a cup of tea to settle in and talk about the books that I bought at Waterstones. I did buy a few, but I have to be honest, I was quite disappointed with the sale selection. I think it's because it's the end of the month and it's just been picked over quite a lot. There's not all that much left. There were some things that I've already read and other things that I'm just not all that interested in. Maybe a few books in the sale selection I was interested in reading, but I knew if I bought them, I wouldn't get around to reading them for ages, and they would just sit on my shelves until one day I got rid of them. So instead, I bought a few newer books that I'm interested in reading, so that kind of sucked me in that way. I finally got a copy of Ann Patchett's novel Tom Lake, and this is in some of the top books lists at the end of last year, and I know some people who have read it. It's the story of a woman who has an affair with an actor early on in her life, and he goes on to become a very famous actor, but then she settles down and has a family, and it's contemplating these issues of what were our parents' lives like before they had children, and life before children, and all of that. And Ann Patchett writes about family in such a compelling way. I've loved her novels, The Dutch House and is it called The Wonder? No, that's an Emma Donoghue book. The Wonder, State of Wonder. That's the Ann Patchett novel that I really enjoyed as well. So been looking forward to this. And to be honest, I'm also thinking in anticipation of the announcement of this year's Women's Prize for Fiction, and Tom Lake seems like a very strong candidate for that list. And I've been wanting to read it. So finally got a copy of it. It's taken me quite a while. Also thinking about the Women's Prize for Fiction, the nonfiction, the newly found nonfiction category for the Women's Prize for Fiction. I got a copy of Naomi Klein's recent book, Doppelganger, which also seems a likely candidate for that. And I don't read all that much nonfiction, so I'm not going to make too many speculations about that. But I do want to read this book. I've not read many of her books. I read No Logo early on in my life, and this book is about how Naomi Klein discovered someone who shares a name with her online, and some messages were being directed towards her when really they were intended for this other person. And so this other Naomi started to feel like a double to her, but somebody who had very conservative and questionable values. And so she goes down this kind of rabbit hole online and looking at things to do with internet culture and what it says about our identity, what it does to our identity over time. And she's exploring all of those issues in the modern age. And it sounds really interesting, especially because I felt like I had my own online doppelganger. There was another Eric Anderson living here in the United Kingdom who was born in America and who's also gay and who's also a writer, but who wrote some articles which provoked some very strong reactions. So this other Eric Anderson, he was an academic, and he wrote this article justifying how he thinks that men's promiscuity is just a part of their nature and can't be fought and, can't be denied. And so I started, after this article came out, I was getting all of these messages from really angry wives. I'm saying, how can you justify that of my husband having an affair, and being really angry at me, and had to feel like that. No, that's not me. It's another Eric Anderson that's living here in the United Kingdom. So anyway, I have experience of this whole doppelganger type thing, and I'll be interested to see how Naomi Klein handles it in her book. I think also, that Naomi Klein's book has been nominated for the Writers' Prize this year, and another book that's been nominated for the Writers' Prize is Mary Jean Chan's new collection, poetry collection called Bright Fear. And I loved her debut collection called Flesh, which was so powerful. And these poems are looking at issues to do with identity and family, and how to fully inhabit the bodies that we're born into, but it's also looking at a lot of contemporary issues and some prejudice that she has faced amidst and after the recent pandemic, and so looking at a lot of issues to do with that. And yeah, I find her poetry very powerful, so I'm looking forward to this new collection. And then just for fun, I got a very short book about food called Chewing the Fat by a food critic named Jay Rayner, whose columns I've enjoyed in the past, and also he's been like a guest critic on MasterChef here in the UK, and his writing's very funny, sort of observing a lot of things about food culture, as well as looking at different food trends and different dishes and restaurants in particular. So I think this will just be like a fun like foodie book to read on the side. So those are the purchases I made. Nothing actually in the sale. I just bought everything full price, but I was glad to pick up a few books while I was there and to think about upcoming book prize seasons and reading some books for that. So let me know if you have made any book purchases recently, if you've gone to any sales in bookshops and got any goodies. I'd love to hear about that in the comments below, or if you've read these specific books or are interested in reading these specific books, please let me know about that in the comments. But I hope you enjoyed this little vlog and journey through London and to Waterstones, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.